What a crazy start to patch day. So this is the first deck that I put together for the patch, the second version of it, and I think it's pretty close to where it needs to be. And it involves the new keyword might. So what might is when you have a unit with 10 or plus more power on each row, any sort of effect related to might would be triggered. And we have a really easy time doing this because we have so many big point slams in the deck. And this card here, King Trum, basically has resilience. We can carry it over into a following round, which helps us actually kickstart the next round with might. And in my video I put out before the patch dropped, I didn't think this card would be that great, but I'm finding that it actually is really good in a deck like this, maybe only in a deck like this, but I have it come down for 13 points. It demands a Heatwave. If left unchecked, we have 13 points going into the next round, so we have a 26-point card at 14 provisions, which is very good. And then to help set up might, I want to talk about the bronze end a little bit here. The Enraged Cyclops, in my previous notes, it had a timer of 5, but I guess what happened was devs decided to make it a timer 7 right in time for the patch, so it changed a little bit since, if it seems confusing to you guys, but for what it's worth, we generally have a handful of Ogroids, and we usually get a cooldown of 1 or 2. So to be able to get 10 points for 4 provision and set up might, that along with Trum is nothing to scoff at. It's actually pretty scary. And going on to Girdle here, this card is another way to get might very easily. So we get to boost an allied unit by 10. Might, when you play an Ogroid, play self from your graveyard and gain doomed. So what I've noticed with this card, it could be used one of two different ways. Either you want to push round 1 on red coin and use it up both times in round 1 while you have the board state, or you want to use it in round 2 for the first time and try to get maybe the carryover into round 3. Either of these type of situations fine, but if you have a short round 3, it doesn't feel as good because you might not be able to get might in a 3-card round 3, which then would not bring this card back. So don't rely too heavy on it. I would probably try to use it at the time of the game where you say, if I don't use it now, I might not be able to use it later. That sort of seems like the sweet spot. And I was thinking about putting in Oneiromancy, but also Mamuna just feels really good to be able to get the might quicker. And what my Mamuna targets are here, I mentioned before in my patch notes review video that the Ice Giants by themselves are a little underwhelming. They do contribute to getting the Enraged Cyclops online, and they do contribute to the King Trum final payout. But at the end of the day, it's something that you might not want to play from hand. So I put Mamuna in here. We can essentially just banish one from grave and play the other one from the deck. It acts as a thin, and we get points for that thin instead of going in for, Neuromancy or a Royal Decree or Naglfar, whatever have you. So these are alternatives, and to go up with that combo, I also have Imlerith, which is just perfect in a situation like this, and these two together are main sources of thinning. Now we have backups for the Mamuna, of course, which would be the Fiends and the Witch Apprentice, but usually for the Imlerith, you just want to use either the Ice Giant or the Fiend. Pretty straightforward with those, that's why I have them in pairs. And another thinning alternative we have here would be the Old Spear Tip and the Old Spear Tip Asleep combo. They are Ogroids, so they have a lot of synergy in a deck like this. Timer 3, summon Old Spear Tip from your deck to this row, increase its base power by 6, then banish self. If Old Spear Tip Asleep takes damage, summon Old Spear Tip from your deck and banish self instead. So essentially, if they can't damage this card, this comes out at 18 points. If they do damage this card, this comes out anyways at 12. If they kill this, meaning they do 8 damage to get rid of the 2 armor in one shot, then we don't get the summon for the Spear Tip. So be careful there, but we do have Pellar if they lock it, which is great. Tugo seems underwhelming. He's actually very good. So at the end of your turn, boost the lowest power unit you control by 1. Might boost all lowest power units you control by 1 instead. So think about that. That's actually really good for basically getting, if you put this down and you put Fiend down on the other row, then they'll be 9 power at the end of one turn. And if you want to use 2 leaders on it, then you get might after that. So 1 on each, and then you can just play whatever you want, like jam your Witch Apprentices, and that could be a round by itself. So don't underestimate Tugo. I thought it was one of those things I'd end up taking out, but it turns out he's not. Okay. And Lord Riptide, again, another card that seems like, okay, whatever, 10 for 8, you do get Clash, that's great. This can get up to 20 points of armor depending on how many turns we have Might. We have so many easy ways to get Might, and you're getting 2 armor per turn, so this is definitely something you want. And because we have so many tall base power units, if you're not playing Ozreal in a deck like this, I don't think you're doing it right. You definitely want to have Ozreal here, especially when, if you're playing against a mirror match, you could really benefit from taking something out of their grave as well. So something to think about there. The Jotun boosts self but the total base power of Ice Giants in your starting deck. So we talked about the 1 base power, and then you have these 2, so it's boosting itself by 14. So that's the condition, which is basically made up for by having Mamuna, as far as having to play these kind of lackluster cards. And then we get a huge 15-point slam, and it feels unconditional because everything's accounted for here, and it's amazing. Short round 3, we're guaranteed 15 points, so we have that. It's good bleeding potential, it's good win on even around 1 potential, you name it. Okay, I have the Ogre Warrior. You could argue that 2 would be effective. However, I feel that because we get Might so quick, because we can get Sabbath so quick, we could benefit more in the long run by having 2 Witch Apprentice instead of doubling up on a second one of these and putting a 4P. Okay, but you can do whatever you want. I just like it the way it looks like this, because Ogre Warrior is a really good card that you can push round 1 with. It's a really good card that you can extend your bleed in round 2 with. It's probably not a good card to play in round 3 if it's a short round. So that's kind of the rationale, you know. Neither is Witch Apprentice, but you'd play these earlier on anyways. Okay. Vial, so we can get a Thin. Vial also, if we don't get the Thin, then we can just use it to boost something up to Might or Manipulate for the 2-go, which is just really nice and smooth. I have a Spores because I feel that we're going to need some kind of control beyond the Lord Riptide. This deck has no control. That's sort of where it could be better, but every deck needs sort of a pitfall, otherwise it's just not fair. But this deck sometimes feels like it's not fair. We have Ice Troll, got to change. Might at the end of your turn, boost self by 1. So if we take Stratagem plus this on 1 row, and we play the Enraged Cyclops on the other row, so this will tick at 10. Depending on how many cards we have in our hand, we can make it happen on the first turn. And then this on the second turn, you put that on melee or whatever, other row, and then just boost it, and all of a sudden you're at 20 points, plus an engine. After 2 turns, off 2 4 provision bronze cards. It's ridiculous, okay? So I know it's an introduction basically to the entire archetype here, and it's going to be a little overpowered for sure. Enjoy it while you have it. Everyone's been asking for it for years, so you know it deserves to be played, and they'll probably make some adjustments accordingly. But for now, I believe that this is one of the stronger ways that you can play it. Some of the considerations I would put in the deck would be something like Maxii. I don't mind if you want to cut one of the Witch Apprentice and put Maxii. I'll put that in my consideration notes because drawing cards could be difficult. I do have the 1, 2, and 3 Thins, but it wouldn't hurt to see where everything is in the deck. So Maxii for that is something that I'm willing to do. And also, Aerondight would be perfect in a deck like this. The issue is that, where does it fit? You would have to take out maybe 2-go or Imlerith and squeeze it in, but then you'd be sacrificing consistency and this crazy engine and Might. So that's why I didn't put it. But Aerondight definitely has a place in a deck like this. So does Heatwave. I think that we just have to deal with what we have. It plays a lot like Symbiosis. If you just keep jamming points and hope for the best outcome, that's your best shot. So this is it. I have some games. I was testing the deck and I didn't do commentary for these games at the time, but I want to put this deck out as quickly as possible so that if you're just hopping on for patch day, you have something to play. So bear with me there. It's essentially because I wasn't intending on posting, but I decided to post. Fair enough. But I will be doing commentary for my next one, hopefully. And just, again, the goal is to get as many decks out there as possible, as quick as possible, but make them as good as possible. So hopefully this is a good start to that. But thank you guys, enjoy the video, and if you like the content that you see, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you very soon with another video.
May your sword and arm be one.
Time for you to die, Dwan. Who taught you to fight like this?
They approach.
Dwan! You stand no chance.
Quick! Move those hooves! Or we'll both be hanged!
Bloody ass! Don't dare think you can escape!
We will take back what was stolen!
None shall tread on us! Time to die. I'll do so sword in hand. my right hand for marinated herring. Right, fine.
Got business for me?
Who taught you to fight like this?
Did I scare you?
To another world, a better world.
Move those hooves! Or we'll both be hanged!
Quench your thirst. Ende hier quam
daisies, stand tall. Dead Dwan push you high. Splendid crops this year, and ever they shall be. Leave it to me. Your next move shall be your last!
Parting spirit, what needs you to leave this world ever free?
Fine, if my coin's ranked, go kiss a dog neath its tail. You annoy me.
The wood shall turn against you. That is all I need.
Ested esa crisa.
be united under one banner.
Just a peek. That is all I need.
Onward, sons of Nilfgaard!
What do you need me to do?
You will not regret this, good sir.
I need not spill blood to make you suffer like never before.
Bow to your half-assed, self-proclaimed authority.
I don't have a dirty mind. Just one hell of an imagination.
You wouldn't want to hurt us, would you?
It's not that I'm always horny. It's you who's always sexy. Relax. Let me sweep your worries away.
Good witch defeat a bad lion.
you seek?
You're not done if you can still walk.
Esakrisa.
Taught you to fight like this.
Fool me once, death on you. No one gets to fool me twice.